Good morning. As the president of Rocky Vista University, I am pleased to extend greetings to all gathered here today. It is indeed an honor to make it known that Rocky Vista University will award graduate degrees to the College of Osteopathic Medicine. This ceremony marks the university's third annual commencement exercise. Today, degrees will be awarded to 150 members of the class of 2014. To pay tribute to this great nation for the many freedoms we enjoy, will the audience please rise for the posting of the colors and join Soap Notes, the Rocky Vista University a cappella group, in the singing of the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, would so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, those bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
Please be seated. I would now like to invite Dr. Frank Ames, Professor of Medical Informatics and Director of the Library Services, to the platform to deliver the invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, known by many names, we join together to recognize the accomplishments of these student doctors. We recognize the faculty who offered instruction, the families who provided support, and the individuals and board members who saw the need for a new university that would train physicians to serve with compassion, integrity, and excellence. In humility, we acknowledge that we are subject to forces greater than ourselves, to events beyond our control, and we express gratitude for the great gifts we've received. With pride, we celebrate the achievement of the students who have met the challenges of medical education and have completed a difficult course of study. The end of the journey is near, the idyllic land is in sight. With confidence and a confident hope, we seek for them every success and a strength from within and beyond themselves to perform their professional duties faithfully, to be diligent in aiding the general welfare of the community, to work with colleagues in a spirit of progressive cooperation, to esteem the teachers who have gone before them, and to seek the best interests of the profession and for the students who will come after them. May they find for themselves and provide for others health, and with health, lives. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Ames. Members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, graduates, families, and friends, welcome to Rocky Vista's third annual commencement ceremony. This is an exciting day for all of us. It's a day when our students fulfill their promise that began with the acceptance to Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine and culminates today with the awarding of their professional degree. Graduates, I invite you to look at this vast audience gathered here to celebrate what you have accomplished, and please enjoy your day. On behalf of the faculty and all others in the community we proudly call Rocky Vista University, I extend thanks to the families and friends who have joined us to celebrate the individual and collective achievement of our graduates. And to the class of 2014, as you celebrate the completion of this major milestone in your educational journey, Rocky Vista University is proud to recognize you as accomplished professionals. May you enjoy for many years the rewards that come to those who serve others. At this time, I would like to introduce members of the platform party. We have today with us several members of our Board of Trustees. The board has wisely governed the course of Rocky Vista University and ensured that our mission has been preserved and strengthened to the position of preeminence we enjoy today. Members of the Board of Trustees with us today include Mr. Ife Etienne, the founder of Rocky Vista University, Dr. Vanessa Sanchez, Chair and Secretary of the Board, Dr. Lucy Chua, and Dr. Maha Salam. Will the members of the board please stand to be recognized? Representing the College of Osteopathic Medicine is our interim dean, Dr. Thomas Toll, our vice dean, Dr. Thomas Moore, our associate deans, Dr. Stephen Putoff, Dr. Dwayne Brandow, and Dr. Michael Martin. The chair of the Faculty Senate, our Faculty Senate, is Dr. Jill Pitcher, and Dr. Frank Ames, Professor of Medical Informatics and Director of Library Services. Will our representatives from the College of Osteopathic Medicine please stand and be recognized? are pleased to have our Alumni Association President, Megan Croteau, to join us. Dr. Croteau, will you please stand and be recognized? Leading our commissioning ceremony is Lieutenant General Douglas J. Robb, Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. Lieutenant General Robb, will you please stand and be recognized? We are pleased to have Norman E. Venn, President of the American Osteopathic Association, with us today. Dr. Venn, will you please stand and be recognized? Also joining us on the platform is our commencement speaker, Governor Michael O. Leavitt. Governor Leavitt, will you please stand and be recognized? I now invite Dr. Vanessa Sanchez to the podium to extend greetings from the Board of Trustees.
Good morning. A few weeks back, somebody asked me why I was a trustee at Rocky Vista University. My first response that I thought was going to say, excuse me, but I thought they deserved a better answer. And I said, it's an opportunity for me to give back because I'm passionate about learning. Well, standing here in front of you today, I think that's the wrong answer. The answer is you. 150 smiling faces to whom I'm conveying the best of luck on behalf of the Board of Trustees and our best wishes for you in the future. The pride, the honor, and the joy that I feel standing in front of you today is the reason why I am a trustee of Rocky Vista University. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. And I just remembered that I forgot to mention that if you do have a cell phone, we ask that you please silence that. And also to be aware that we do have a cry room available. It is streaming the ceremony live. So if you think you need to step out, our ushers can help you with directions. I would now like to invite Dr. Megan Croteau, President of the Rocky Vista University Alumni Association and graduate of our inaugural class from 2012, to the podium.
Good morning and congratulations. I am honored to be a part of your special day today, to be one of the first people to welcome you into this amazing profession, a healer, an educator, an osteopathic physician. I am here this morning to officially welcome you into the Rocky Vista University Alumni Association. Established in 2012 with the graduation of Rocky Vista University's inaugural class, we are an organization committed to the needs of our alumni and the growth of Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine. Today, as we welcome 150 new doctors, our association grows to 426 alumni members. Being a part of RVU's inaugural class, myself, I take great pride in the Alumni Association. While looking at the class of 2014's achievements and accomplishments, I must say I am honored to have you a part of the Alumni Association. The class of 2014 has exhibited greatness not only in the classroom, but on community outreach, international mission trips, and of course, your outstanding board scores and match rates. It was exactly 2 years ago that I sat here in your shoes, anxiously waiting to cross the stage, receive my diploma, and begin to take on the role of doctor. You will be amazed how easy it is to fill those shoes. That is, until you are challenged. You will always remember your first delivery, your first remission, and that first genuine hug you get from a patient for the care that you are providing. However, you will also remember your first challenging case and perhaps your first bad outcome. It is in these moments that you will be tested most. Mine was a healthy 6-year-old girl with a sudden onset of hemostasis that was clinging on to life. As I sat there trying to come up with a differential diagnosis of what was going on with this precious little girl, I couldn't help to think back to pathology, to PCM, to those hours and hours in the anatomy lab, all of my mentors' voices coming back and swirling in my head. What could this be? While I did not have that diagnosis immediately, I realized at that time RVU Com had given me the critical thinking skills to evaluate, differentiate, and move forward with a plan. Feel confident in the skills that you have established here and obtained, and always look for excelling. As you move forward with your career, residency, and beyond, remember you are not alone, for RVU grads are near and far. While a large number of our alumni are here in Colorado, we traverse the United States from Hawaii to Maine and everywhere in between. We hope you find it easy to network with your fellow alumni so that we can come together to do the most important thing that we set out to do, bettering our communities. I ask that you keep Rocky Vista and the Alumni Association close to your hearts. I task the class of 2014 to continue to exhibit greatness, to give back to your community, and to help others. Most importantly, I urge you to find health. For as one of our founding fathers, A.T. Still, once said, to find health should be the object of any doctor. To be the object of the doctor, anyone can find disease. It is with great pride that I welcome the class of 2014 into the Rocky Vista University Alumni Association. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Coteau. It's such an immense pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to the graduating class of 2014. I join our entire RVU community in congratulating you on your achievement today to be receiving your Doctorate of Osteopathic Medicine degree. As your president, I firmly believe you are our greatest legacy. We will always be committed to your success. After all, as an RVU graduate, your successes are our successes. I'm also honored to know that we have a connection for life as you become a member of the RVU Alumni Association today. You will forever be a member of our Rocky Vista University family. I'm tasked with delivering the President's message to the class of 2014. In an attempt to provide some words of wisdom and advice, I talked with several seasoned higher education leaders, veteran medical educators, and a few members of last year's class, and even some of you to ask what a new DO would want to hear at his or her graduation. As you can imagine, I got several interesting suggestions. Among them included, keep studying, stay disciplined with your time like you did when you were taking classes. Make sure your malpractice insurance is paid. Stay current with your student loan repayment schedule. Be an active member of the Rocky Vista University Alumni Association. Be a leader in the community and live a balanced life. Wow. From their advice and from years of participating in many commencement ceremonies, I've decided to share advice about the RVU way. So the RVU way is a phrase I've used many times for many different purposes. I've talked about our successful curriculum as being the RVU way. Our faculty and staff being so special, they make up the RVU way. Our students are so talented, and that's clearly part of the RVU way. Our successful outcomes are byproducts of the RVU way. All of those are correct, and each plays a part in who we are and why we have become so successful. But now I want to add a bit more specificity about how you can uphold the RVU way. Our university's core values tells part of the story about the RVU way. Those core values include integrity, collegiality, compassion, diversity, excellence, and service. These core values are important to us, and we trust that each of you will continue to embrace them as you move on to your next professional life, next phase of your professional life. The RVU way takes these core values a bit further and talks about what you represent and how you present yourself to others. It's how you can command the respect benefiting of a physician and an RVU graduate, and to achieve the utmost rewarding life. The RVU way is founded on our core values and guides your personal and professional behavior. The additional qualities and expectations we have of you that make up this RVU way of being include how you conduct yourself professionally matters, and that you are aware of how your behavior impacts others around you. How things have to be earned without the expectation of entitlement. How you must have passion for your work, and you must take time to have fun and lead that balanced life so many people tell you to do. So let me take each one of these very quickly and expand. First, how you conduct yourself professionally matters, and that you need to be mindful of how your behavior impacts those around you. Your work in your residency program is a representation of our work with you. You are the face of the university. The RVU way must come shining through you in everything you do. It has to be a part of your life. Imagine your first day in your residency program. What does it look like? Of course, there are the basics. Arriving on time, dressed appropriately, being fully engaged and prepared for the day's work. Do you see yourself being responsible for your actions? Are you taking the initiative to accomplish things not yet asked of you? Are you being very attentive and providing exemplary care to your patients? Are you getting along well with others and showing respect for your colleagues with whom you work? Can you see yourself interacting with others with grace and compassion? If so, you are definitely capturing the RVU way. Often these kinds of skills, or these qualities, are called soft skills, as opposed to the hard technical skills, the knowledge and the competencies of being a physician. However, these soft skills will go a long way to elevate your status in the work setting. It will make you shine in the eyes of your director of medical education and to the existing physicians in the hospital. These soft skills will inspire your colleagues to be better professionals too. They will also reflect that you are good and capable of working well with others. Shakespeare once wrote, "She who is not great is not greatly good." So the bottom line is that your professional behavior is of utmost importance. Your behavior impacts others around you and reflects positively or negatively on Rocky Vista University. The second aspect to the RVU way involves that you really have to earn things, and keep in mind that you're not entitled. Earn through work. It's not a new concept, but today many supervisors and employers lament the disappointment with recent college graduates who think they're going to be the hospital CEO tomorrow. The message today is indeed that you are at the top of your game. After all, you're part of a small percentage of the citizens in the world who've earned a professional degree. Remember that image that you're portraying, and how you would like to see others, and how others would like to see you. Keep that image in the forefront of your mind as you move forward from this day on. You will not be the CEO tomorrow, or the chief medical officer tomorrow, or the director of medical education immediately after this graduation. But we do have expectations for you, and we do anticipate you will rise quickly in your residency setting. I just learned on Friday another one of our graduates from the 2012 class who will be the chief resident in her program starting July 1st. In fact, there are many, many other stories of our graduate successes. In fact, our informal count has about two dozen of our students from the 2012 class have become chief residents. So remember and practice the RVU way every day, and you will rise to these positions. These high expectations of you are definitely part of the RVU way. The legendary head basketball coach for the University of Tennessee Lady Vols basketball team, Patricia Pat Summit, is noted regularly as saying, "The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary." Be the kind of person others want to be around and look up to, because they can count on you for working hard and that you earn the reputation of serving others. You have to earn the respect of your supervisors, your colleagues, the members of the medical team, as well as the respect of your patients. You must earn it the old-fashioned way, by working hard and especially by working smart. The final and third point of the RVU way is to have passion for your work and have fun. Passion is described as the desire, the hunger, the thirst, the craving that makes us want to accomplish more. Representing the RVU way is having a desire to be an excellent physician. You want to display passion for your work, your patients, and for the healthcare system in which you work. Your passion will drive you to accomplish more than you thought even possible. Having passion for one's work adds greatly to one's life. The key is to have fun as well. And according to Eleanor Roosevelt, the purpose of life is to live it, to taste experiences to the utmost, to reach out eagerly without fear for newer and richer experiences. And as Walt Whitman notes in Leaves of Grass, do anything, but let it produce joy. Passion for work and having fun in life are key aspects to the RVU way. So why all this advice about the RVU way? Clearly, we want you to make us proud by carrying these core values and these tenets of the RVU way with you. We want you to excel in your residency and continue to enjoy a joyful life of serving others through medicine. As you leave to embark on your residency, you will need to keep your professional behavior in mind. Learn to play and work well with others. Get the most out of life and enjoy it as much as possible. Rocky Vista University, class of 2012, you have a wonderful future ahead of you, and I look forward to hearing about the hard and great work you will be doing, how you are serving others and earning the respect of those around you. I cannot wait to hear back from your residency leaders about how well RVU prepared you for your successes, to hear back from them about your abilities to work well as a team. I know you will each become the type of physician and person who will make us proud. Then we will see that you've truly embraced the RVU way. Thank you for listening. I would now like to invite Dr. Thomas Toll to the podium to deliver the Dean's address.
Thank you, Dr. Lovell. Just a few housekeeping things before I begin. Would all the members of Sigma Sigma Phi please stand and be recognized? Thank you. And now I'd also like to introduce to you one of the finest and most distinguished teams. Would the faculty of Rocky Vista University please stand and be recognized? And finally, no good team is complete without a motivated and very dedicated adjunct faculty. Would all the members of the adjunct faculty of Rocky Vista University please stand and be recognized? Part of being a physician is to be involved and to be involved with those that have your interest at heart. Before I begin my talk, I'd like to read a letter from the Colorado Society of Osteopathic Medicine. To the class of 2014, on behalf of the 1,400 osteopathic physicians in Colorado, Vice President Pitcher and the Board of Trustees of the Colorado Society of Osteopathic Medicine, I wish to congratulate the students of RVU College of Osteopathic Medicine, class of 2014, for their dedication and hard work, long hours and mental training necessary to thrive and survive in today's medical field. We wish you the best of success in your upcoming residency training programs. Your predecessors know very well firsthand how much effort went into the first 4 years of medical education, and we are heartened that such smart, enthusiastic, and capable people will soon be taking the reins of patient care as residency-educated, fully trained osteopathic physicians. It is with great pleasure and pride that we welcome you into the osteopathic profession. Best wishes, Christopher Unrein, D.O. FACOI, FACP, President, Colorado Society of Osteopathic Medicine. Over 4 decades ago, I sat where you sat, finished with medical school, waiting for the dean's address to quit so that I could go ahead and anxiously move on to the next phase of my life. America was at war in Vietnam, and I'd been commissioned the day before. I was going to begin my second tour of duty, not as a Coast Guard petty officer like the first time, but as a commissioned officer in the United States Army Medical Corps. My wife, whose dedication and sacrifice had made all of this possible, sat in the audience with our young son. He had been born the morning of my anatomy final during freshman year, just 3 years before. Molly had patiently shared my attentions through that long night of labor with a very smelly copy of Gray's Anatomy. And now she sat again in the audience, 9 months pregnant, not to mention 1 week overdue, wondering in which date she would deliver our next child. We planned right after commencement ceremonies to embark on a long road trip from Kirksville, Missouri to Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas to begin my internship. We are happy to report that everything turned out okay as we rode off into the sunset that graduation day in 1973. Many sunrises and sunsets have come and gone since then. I've signed more than 1,000 birth certificates, and thankfully not as many death certificates. I know many of those little sprouts I helped into the world would not be here had it not been for a physician's skilled hands. Over the years, I was invited to the lives of countless wonderful people, from returning POWs who endured the tiger cages of the South and the horrors of the Hanoi Hilton prison, to an old man who had ridden with Butch Cassidy's Wild Bunch as a boy. I took care of their children and their children's children, and yes, I laid some of my best friends to rest in the endless cycle of life. To be a physician is to be a member of one of the grandest orders in society. There is nothing more precious in life than a person's health and well-being. And as physicians, you will be the guardians of that most sacred right. Never, ever forget that. There are those who say that the golden age of medicine is gone, that our healthcare system is broken, and that the doctor-patient relationship is a thing of the past. Don't ever count me among those ranks. To grab headlines, other doctors have quit medicine as a sign of protest, but I know they will not be happy in any other occupation than medicine. In my estimation, the future of our profession has never been brighter. For the first time in our history, osteopathic principles will be recognized in a positive way by the rest of the medical world. And soon those time-honored principles will be codified in American medicine forever. Young people like you in our profession were the catalyst that brought this about. Students and residents did in just a few short years what AT still only dreamed of, and what the profession worked more than a century for. Words I thought I would never ever speak in my lifetime. Unification and parity for DOs in the House of Medicine. Not just American medicine, but international medicine as well. Were it possible for me to turn my life backwards and join your graduating class and face the world which you now face, I would do so in a heartbeat. Sure, you have your challenges, but they're no greater than the challenges I faced 40 years ago. They're just different types of challenges in a different age, and your generation will solve them just as my generation solved ours. Do not ever be afraid to tackle adversity or shrink from challenges, though great they may seem. Remember, an arrow gathers even more energy as it's dragged ever further backwards. So when it appears that life is dragging you down, pulling you back, or maybe even trying to buck you off, harness that energy just like the arrow. Take aim, and at just the right moment, launch yourself even to greater heights. It's up to you and the most powerful allies, your patients, to help shape the future of American healthcare system, of our American healthcare system. I know you're up to the task. After all, you just conquered one of the most challenging medical curriculum in osteopathic education today. You are, in my mind, the best of the best. And so I say, for all the faculty and staff at the college, congratulations, RVU class of 2014. Congratulations on a job well done. Speaking of being well done and doing things right, I would like to take the opportunity now to introduce to you a very outstanding individual, a person who has impressed me with his knowledge, but also his humility and introspect. I'd like to introduce to you student Dr. Nicholas Lee Robbins, your valedictorian, for the valedictory address.
First off, I wanted to just tell the president, the deans, and the faculty and staff thank you for this opportunity to speak to my class. So first off, good morning, fellow graduates, faculty, staff, family, and friends. When I was approached with this great honor to provide the farewell speech to you, I wasn't quite sure what to say. I didn't want to give the same hope and change speech that we've all heard from past valedictorians about 3 or 4 times probably by this point. I wanted to impart some piece of wisdom that I gained while at RVU. I thought about it for a while and I came up with 2 thoughts that were impactful to me, and I hope that they're impactful for you. The first was a comment I received from an oncology attending I had at the end of 2nd year. As I left his office on the last day of the rotation, I shook his hand thanking him for all his time that he took to educate me. He looked me in the eye and said one last thing: "Nick, don't let medicine take your humanity." As I walked out, it took a minute for me to grasp what I had just been told. But once I had, a small part of me already knew what he was talking about, because in some way I felt mine was slipping away in this rigorous academic field that we were undertaking. The second thought I wanted to share with you was a thought of my own, and what I believe is a step toward maintaining your humanity. As I was sitting in Indianapolis airport on my way home at the end of January 2014 after doing 7 months of audition rotations, I couldn't let go of a few questions that I had missed earlier in that week in the OR. Whether this was due to fatigue or incompetence, I couldn't answer it correctly, and it still bothered me while sitting in the airport, heading home to sleep in my bed for the first time in 7 months and spend time with my family who I'd barely seen. My next thought was, why is this weighing on me so heavily? So what I want you to contemplate when you're pulling another night of call, wondering who you've become over the last 5 years, I want you to think about this thought: don't let medicine be the only thing that defines you. Keyword only. So now when writing the speech, this is the point I kind of got stuck. I'm sitting here in the same position you are. I don't have any more wisdom than you do. Maybe 10 or 15 years from now I can impart greater wisdom on you. The best I can do now is this. We all started this journey with the idea of saving people, our hearts full of compassion and dreams to change lives. As tests came once every 2 weeks, medicine became more about numbers than it did about patients. We saw how medicine became about egos and the obsession to be successful. Perhaps you started to feel your own humanitarian pursuit slip away. So in order to hold on to or perhaps regain your humanity and be able to remember it at 2 a.m. when doing another night of call in the ER, dealing with or trying to fix some patient's poor decision that jeopardizes his or her health and your sleep, I want you to remember that there should be something else in your life than just this profession. whether that is your spouse, your children, family, or hobbies such as writing, working in local political elections, running marathons, climbing mountains, skiing, whatever it is. Your patients deserve to have the best educated and empathetic RVU physician, one that I know all of you have. And you also deserve to be the greatest physician yourself, as well as the best bocce ball bowler or the curling sweepers that you are. I hope everybody knows what those sports are because they're a lot of fun. So to end this, I first want to thank all of the faculty, staff, and attendings that helped us get to where we are today. I next also want to thank our family, friends that put up with and supported this sometimes questionable but noble profession. And mostly I wanted to congratulate all of you graduates, new doctors. Today is our day to be proud of our accomplishment and celebrate what we've created and look forward with great anticipation to our futures. You will be amazing physicians, and I know your patients will be grateful to have such amazingly trained, compassionate RVU physicians. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. It's now my honor to introduce our commencement speaker. The mission of Rocky Vista University is to provide quality healthcare education while inspiring students to serve with compassion, integrity, and excellence. Our commencement speaker epitomizes these qualities. Michael O. Levitt was sworn in as the 20th Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services on January 26, 2005. As Secretary, he led national efforts to protect the health of all Americans and provide essential human services to those in need. He managed the largest civilian department in the federal government with more than 66,000 employees and a budget that accounted for 1 out of every 4 federal dollars. The people of Utah elected Mike Levitt governor 3 times. Prior to leaving the State House to work with the Bush administration, he was the nation's longest-serving governor. During his 11 years of service, Utah was recognized 6 times as one of America's best-managed states. He was chosen by his peers as chairman of the National Governors Association, the Western Governors Association, and the Republican Governors Association because of his ability to solve problems across partisan lines. Governor Levitt is widely recognized as a healthcare innovator and welfare reformer, and his record of achievement in Utah bears this out. In 1994, the Utah legislature passed Governor Levitt's Health Pret, a comprehensive incremental approach to healthcare improvement in that state. A decade later, Utah has more than 400,000 additional people with health insurance, marked increases in the number of children with healthcare coverage, dramatically improved immunization rates, and per capita cost of health care 25% below the national average. He was chosen by the nation's governors to represent the states in Congress on welfare reform, Medicaid, and children's health insurance issues. In Levitt's previous public service, he has always pursued 3 goals: to leave things better than he found them, to plant seeds for the next generation, and to give it his all. These were his goals as the leader of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. He was born in Cedar City, Utah. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in economics and business from Southern Utah University, and he's also served as president and chief executive officer of a regional insurance firm, establishing it as one of the top insurance brokers in America. It is with great pleasure that I welcome Governor Levitt as our commencement speaker.
Dr. Lovell and faculty, distinguished guests, and particularly parents. I'm delighted to be with you today, and to the graduates. To the parents, may I say it's good to be with you. I don't think anyone would dispute the fact that this is a big deal. Some years ago, my oldest son was about ready to graduate with an undergraduate degree from a university. evening, I noticed that there was a letter that had come from the Cap and Gown Company, and I encouraged him to make certain that he sent it in. He said, "Oh, I'm not going to walk." I said, "You're not going to walk? Why would that be the case?" He said, "Oh, it's not a big deal." I said, "It is a big deal. We've waited our entire life to see you there and to have that picture." He said, "Okay." And I said, "I'll pay the $50 for the cap and gown." So several weeks later, I'm in the Los Angeles airport and my cell phone rings. It was my oldest son. "I did it." I said, "What do you mean you did it?" "I walked. I got the picture." I said, "Today?" He said, "Yes, today." That wasn't the point. So I just want to say to those of you who this is a big deal. And I am very glad your parents are here. Many of your parents are thinking of moments well before this in your life. I was thinking this morning about a moment in my life when I had just been elected governor. Our family was fairly young. Our son now, who is a senior at a university in our state, was 3 years old. Now, we had moved into this grand mansion that the state provides the governor and the governor's family. It has 38 rooms. It was built at the turn of the century by a wealthy miner. I called the family residence quarters, and we had a conversation that went about like this. "Hello?" I said, "Weston, is that you?" "It's me." I said, "Is Mom there?" "She's here, but she's busy." I said, "What about Anne Marie, your sister?" "She's busy too." "What are they busy doing?" "Looking for me." Parents, you're having thoughts like this, I know, right now. I want to speak today about one thing I believe the world is looking for today, and it is collaborative leaders with a willingness to convene. I want to challenge you as graduates to recognize good convening, and more importantly, to become a good convener. I was a young second lieutenant, much like Dr. told. I had been sent to Fort Bliss, Texas, where I was going to be trained at a red-eye gunner school. I won't take the time to explain what that is, but I will tell you that I was assigned to occupy a very large officer's billet, about the size of a huge dormitory, and I was the only person in it. A couple of days later, I noticed another person had moved in. This, however, was a brigadier general. Now, those of you who are in the military know we have a lieutenant general here today. They don't spend a lot of time talking to second lieutenants. But we were the only two in the building, and there was only one TV set, and therefore we spent a fair amount of time in the evening together. And over time, that rank began to break down a bit, and I learned a bit about him. Now, it turns out he was a reserve general, and he was in his normal life, or his ongoing civilian life, a consultant with a big company called Firestone. At the time, Firestone had over 500 corporations, of which they had responsibility and ownership. His job was, as a consultant, management consultant, to go around and evaluate each of the leaders of these organizations. And so one night I said to him, "General, what kind of advice would you give a young person who's just entering business?" He said, "I'm going to give you a piece of advice, Lieutenant, that is not just good economic advice. It's advice about the way to have an impact on the world." He said, I have learned after many years that there is a limit on what you can be paid for what you can do yourself. After that, you have to be paid for what you can get done through others. Learn to manage, he said. Now, I found that to be good advice, but in the years since, I have also learned that there is a corollary to that principle. There is a point when getting things done through others has to be modified by getting things done among others. This happens when there are obstacles to an important goal that we simply don't have the capacity to remove ourselves, or when there are resources that are necessary that we don't have control over. I would like to suggest to you that the world is beginning to intuitively organize itself into networks. Networks that bring efficiency economically and allow organizations, communities, and nations to continue to compete. Collaborative skills really is this, and the power to convene have become a critical measure of leadership in this century, and that's the reason. Now, I'm not talking just about information networks, but I'm talking about communities, as I've suggested, businesses, etc. I'm looking around this room and I'm thinking, not among the students, but I'll bet I'm not the only one who took a Fortran class in college. You remember the deck of cards that we had to program and key punch them, and then you would put them into the computer at 2:30 in the morning at the computer lab at the university, because it's the only time we could get computer time. And those cards would go through, and if they had stacked them just in the right order, there would be a cascading sound in the corner as a green bar paper cascaded onto the floor. That was the mainframe era of our world. It was important technology. And then we graduated to the personal computer, and everyone here can remember our first personal computer. Mine was a Tandy. It was made by Radio Shack. It was a 512K dual floppy deluxe model. But I could do very cool things with it. I could play Pong. Do you remember Pong? I could organize spreadsheets on something called VisiCalc. But it was mine. I didn't have to go to the computer lab. And then we discovered that we could begin to network these together. That they formed a powerful network, and that networked PCs were more powerful than standalone mainframe computers. Well, through that process, the world has also begun to change in the way it shapes itself. Nations have begun to change the way they shape themselves. In the past, for example, the European Union was a group of mainframed countries. Now they've concluded they're better off operating like a group of networked PCs. We see it in the military with the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Marines, the Coast Guard, all very siloed organizations over time, now becoming to form networks. Why? Because they realized when they fought an enemy called Al-Qaeda, that was a networked enemy, that they had to be a network to defeat a network. That is a lesson we must all learn, and it is nowhere more true than in the healthcare world that you are entering. You are entering a world where the health community is working to break down siloed barriers in order to create new care models. And the leaders of those care models will be those who will learn to convene and to operate with collaborative skills. It will be a Darwinian instinct to survive. Now let me just point to one of what I believe to be one of the great conveners in American history. It was George Washington. I'm going to take you back to 1787. The United States had just won its independence with its blood through a revolution. The individual states were not at all interested in forming a big national government that would control them. Turns out it was a mess. They had the Articles of Confederation, which meant that each state could operate essentially on its own. And we had 3 states that were vying to become part of, or to own Vermont, but there were no courts to sort that out. Each of them were creating their own currency. They all began to develop separate trade barriers among and between the states. And there was a need, a serious need, to bring this together for the purpose of being able to create a stronger nation. 2 men, Alexander Hamilton and James Madison, knew this had to be done, but on their own concluded they did not have the capacity to get them to come to this discussion. And so they went to the only man they felt they could approach, and it was George Washington. They said, General Washington, if you will come, if you will invite them, they will come. You have the power of a convener. Washington was persuaded, issued the invitation, came to the meeting, sat next to the podium, not at the podium, but just stood in the room and assured that everyone came and that everyone was well behaved. From that came the United States of America. Conveners have a series of responsibilities. One is to be able to define the right people. It's to be able to explain the problem in ways that are compelling enough that people will come together and understand the consequences if they don't. It's the ability to process it, to hold people accountable. It's ability to create a culture where people will cooperate. It's the capacity to reward good behavior and, I might add, to respond to poor behavior. Collaborative leadership requires that we develop a trusted personal brand. At the root of this is the capacity to be trusted, to build a network of people that we can call upon, to focus on diplomatic skills, etc. You're going to face situations where you won't be forming a new country, but very quickly you'll find yourself in a new job where it might require a new scheduling system. Be the convener. Be the person who steps up and shows leadership by bringing people together to collaboratively and cooperatively form a network to solve this problem. It might be work with a new health information technology vendor. It could be a just-in-time inventory system. It might be something in your community, but I would leave you today with the challenge to learn not just to be a good collaborator in a networked world, but become a convener. Now, I'll just end with one more story. So I've been governor a while, and I told you about the 3-year-old. We had a 10-year-old, and we had a group of students who were going to come to the governor's residence, and we were going to have an evening where we would talk with them. And the problem was my wife had to go somewhere else, and well, I couldn't find a babysitter. So I went to the 10-year-old and I said to him, look, if you'll watch your 3-year-old brother for an hour, when we're done, we will go to 7-Eleven and I will buy you a quart of chocolate milk. It'll be yours and only yours. So we got to the meeting, and I was right at the high point of my remarks. 2 large oak doors in the back of this ballroom began to rumble. Through it poked a 10-year-old head. He said in the loudest voice he could muster, "It's been an hour. Your time is up." Now, my time's up. But yours now is just beginning in this new collaborative world. And I just do want to leave you with one piece of advice. This is it. You are facing unparalleled change in the healthcare world. And there are only 3 ways that you can approach it. You can fight it and die. You will be overcome by events. This is being pushed by not political forces, but large-scale economic forces that demand change. I'm talking about global economic forces related to the need for debt, etc. This is a very big part of the environment which you'll be operating in. Or you could, number 2, you could accept it and have a chance. Or lastly, you could lead it and prosper. And my challenge to you is that you lead. You lead as a collaborator, as a convener. And if you do, you will prosper. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Dr. Thomas Told, our interim dean, will now present the graduating class in preparation for awarding of the degree.
Will the candidates for degree Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine please stand? Present level, members of the Board of Trustees, honored guests. On behalf of the faculty, I present to you Rocky Vista University's College of Osteopathic Medicine graduating class of 2014. The members of the faculty of the College of Osteopathic Medicine have evaluated the candidates and endorsed all these students as worthy of having the degree Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine conferred upon them. Dr. Lovell, it is with great pride that I present the class of 2014 of Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Graduates, please remain standing for the conferment of the degree. Dr. Toll, I am pleased to receive these candidates by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Rocky Vista University and by the state of Colorado. I do hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine with all the honors, rights, and privileges and responsibilities pertaining to this degree, of which your diploma will be a witness forever. You are hereby recognized as graduates and alumni of Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine. Congratulations, and please be seated.
Thank you. We will now honor the graduates of the College of Osteopathic Medicine earning the Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine degree. Hooding is the culmination of medical students' achievement of the DO degree. The hood is adorned with green velvet representing the academic color of medicine. The graduating class has selected Dr. Richard Darrow, Professor of Internal Medicine, to serve as the faculty hooder. Graduates will also be given the option of being hooded by a family member or mentor. The guest hooders will be identified as the name of the graduate is announced. The fellows of the class of 2013 will be hooded first, followed by our military students who will be commissioned today, and the rest of the class will be hooded in alphabetical order.
Anthony James Furlano, Osteopathic Principles and Practices Fellow, hooded by Dr. Margaret Dubois. Amber Nicole Kuhn, Osteopathic Principles and Practices Fellow, hooded by Dr. Eric Kortz. Gary Nathan Nakin, Osteopathic Principles and Practices Fellow, hooded by Guy Klinger. Claire Prest, Osteopathic Principles and Practices Fellow, hooded by Dr. Lane Prest. Dr. Jonathan James Vokes, Anatomy Fellow. Dr. Sarah Mancini Altenberg. Dr. Jess Anderson, Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors Track and Military Medicine Honors Track. Patrick Michael Barnett, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Matthew Keenan Barnett. Dr. Carissa Chalut, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Ronald Christopher Fenton, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Jason Gregory Frisch, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Daniel M. Heilman, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Timothy Lee Heilman, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Brian Ogden. Graduating with honors, Dr. Lee Isaac Holder, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Lee Alexander Lee Poole, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Jillian Nicole Kulikowski-Jones, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Francis E. Weitzel Kalin. Dr. Robert Lyle Lenhart. Dr. Morgan Rebecca Light, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Slava Mackler, Military Medicine Honors Track. Ashley Young Martin, hooded by Dr. Michael Tiemann. Genevieve Rebecca Mueller, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Brock Daniel Parker, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Robert Nicholas Petro, Military Medicine Honors Track and Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Michael Tiemann. Dr. Daniel Brian Pugh, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Charles Pugh. Dr. Christina Presley Remmert, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. James Presley. Dr. Vanessa Eva Stetson Rodriguez, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Stephen Carver Sears, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Thomas Lee. Dr. Julia Sophia Skozinski, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Christopher Aaron Smith, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Anthony J. Christoph. Dr. Eric Shanu Stevens, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Andrea Mager Stevens. Dr. Reagan Ashley Stigman, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Sarah J. Chilton. Dr. Van Gregson Wall, Military Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Michael Tiemann. Dr. Joel James Welshans, Dr. S. Jonathan Williams, Military Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Jesse David Agler, Dr. Thomas Lee. Dr. Courtney Lee Amarin. Dr. Rebecca Dawn Whitley Anderson. Dr. Rosemary George Andrianokos, hooded by Dr. Timothy Judd. Dr. Anna George Andrianokos Kalogopoulos, hooded by Dr. Timothy Judd. Dr. Ali M. Ansari, hooded by Dr. Michael Tiemann. Dr. Boris I. Bayerman. Graduating with honors, Nicholas Allen Beckman, hooded by Dr. James H. Beckman. Dr. Christopher Todd Lethe Bender. Dr. Catherine Suzanne Bowles-Dureski. Dr. Claudia Gabrielle Bouvier, hooded by Dr. Lucia R. Tuffanelli. Dr. Vanessa Noel Campbell, Global Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Mark Goldstone. Dr. Matthew James Carter. Dr. Brittany Marie Carver, hooded by Dr. Jade P. Norton. Dr. Aaron Min-Ki Cho. Dr. Carrie April Coffey. Dr. Jennifer Lee Kennard, hooded by Dr. Jonathan Kennard. Dr. Jessica Ray Neesett Cox, hooded by James Neesett. Dr. Graham Watson Davis, hooded by Dr. Michael Tiemann. Graduating with honors, Raina Jean Dahl. Dr. Daniel Robert Dorton. Dr. Kevin Stephen Doherty, Global Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Casey Patrick Fisher. Dr. Andrew William Fondell. Dr. William R. Francis, Jr., Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. William R. Francis. Dr. Louis Vincent Frosch. Dr. Melissa Marie Fouillon, Global Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Gabriel A. Garcia Ryan. Dr. Jimmy Gang. Graduating with honors, Dr. Jessica Louise Gilbert, Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Carrie Lynn Glassner, hooded by Dr. David Glassner. Dr. Ryan Michael Goodmanson. Graduating with honors, Dr. Tanya Vera Gorczynski. Dr. Elena Graham. Dr. Matthew L. Gray. Dr. Courtney Ann Gushu, hooded by Dr. George Gushu. Graduating with honors, Dr. John Christopher Hawkins, hooded by Dr. Michael Tiemann. Dr. Canillo Louise Henderson. Dr. Austin John Henry. Dr. William Addison Hoskinson. Dr. Siobhan Finn Hoyle. Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Mikhail M. Sayes. Dr. Katrina Lynn Hutton. Dr. Julianne Michelle M. Sayes Losh. Hooded by Dr. Mikhail Y. M. Sayes. Dr. Faz Ahmed Javed. Dr. Elizabeth Miller Jelinek, Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Derek Christopher Johnson. Dr. Sina Karampour. Dr. Robert Thomas Kelly. Dr. Andrew George Keltz. Dr. John Richard Knudsen, hooded by Dr. Jerry Twiggs. Dr. Alexandra Stephanie Kasoy, hooded by Dr. Alan Franklin Kasoy. Dr. Jana Adelaide Croyce. Dr. Daniel Coopersmith. Graduating with honors, Dr. Jillian Kurtz, hooded by Dr. James Kurtz. Dr. Tuchin Linda Leduc. Dr. Edward Lin, Global Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Matthew John Lucas. Dr. Janie Long, Global Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Christy Long. Dr. Michael David Madison. Dr. Sandra Elizabeth Mason, hooded by Dr. Sally Elizabeth Monken. Dr. Megan Jill McCann. Dr. Kelly Ann McGuire. Global Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Michael McGuire. Graduating with honors, Dr. Elizabeth Alexina McKay, hooded by Dr. Peter McKay. Dr. Matthew Gary Moore. Dr. Chad Harold Morrison. Dr. Timothy Joseph Murphy. Dr. Christopher Matthew Mooter, hooded by Dr. Bethany Mooter. Dr. Jason John Nacken, hooded by Dr. Bridget Bailey. Graduating with honors, Dr. Rachel Lynn Nebelsick. Dr. Christina Marie Ottomeyer, hooded by Dr. Michael Tiemann. Dr. John Soon-Hoon Pak. Dr. Joanne Marie Pardon. Graduating with honors, Dr. Kelly Nicole Parker, hooded by Jeff Cowman.
There's a smile. Go, Christina.
Dr. Viral M. Patel. Graduating with honors, Dr. Aaron Keeley Philpott. Global Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Elizabeth Ann Polk. Dr. Christopher Bernal Quijano. Dr. Octavio Quijano and Dr. Ralph Quijano. Dr. Brian Randolph Ryder. Dr. Bradley Scott Rice. Dr. Hilda Lucia Ryderer, hooded by Dr. Rodika Aleku. Graduating with honors, Dr. Nicholas Lee Robbins. Dr. Jessie Marie Robertson, Global Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. Sean Curtis. Dr. Stephanie Aaron Repke. Dr. Thomas Scott Rogers. Global Medicine Honors Dr. Alexander Jack Ryan. Dr. Corinne Sabina Reiser Reed. Graduating with honors, Dr. Megan Nicole Sankey. Dr. Matthew Jacob Schaefer, Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Angela K. Schmidt. Dr. Nathan Charles Schreiber. Dr. Autumn Marie Schwed. Dr. Julie Marie Sefcik. Dr. Sonia Rundy. Dr. Lucas Dean Shelton, hooded by Dr. Dean W. Shelton. Dr. Lucas Dean Sittner. Dr. Dorothy Angie Sizemore, Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors. Dr. Robert Jason Turito. Dr. Laura Catherine Travers. Doctors Daniel and Christine Travers. Dr. Catherine Ann Tribulato. Bradley Tribulato. Graduating with honors, Dr. Randon William Upp. Dr. David Christopher Valencia.
Love you, Chris!
Dr. Kippy Lee Valentine. Dr. Brittany Renee Van Beek, Global Medicine Honors Track. Dr. Vijay Deb Venugopal, hooded by Dr. T.K. Venugopal. By Dr. Catherine McGonigal. Dr. Joshua Daniel Wormers. Dr. Annie T. Wu. Dr. Crystal June E. Dr. Megan Marie Young, Rural and Wilderness Medicine Honors Track, hooded by Dr. James Christopher Young. Dr. Stephen Christopher Zerlang.
The osteopathic oath will be administered by Dr. Thomas Toll, the interim dean of Rocky Vista University. Will the graduates please stand?
Since the osteopathic oath stems from the Hippocratic oath, will all the physicians in the audience, DO and MD, please stand with the graduates and reaffirm your oath. Repeat after me. I do hereby affirm my loyalty to the profession I am about to enter. I will be mindful always of my great responsibility to preserve the health and the life of my patients, to retain their confidence and respect, both as a physician and a friend who will guard their secrets with scrupulous honor and fidelity. To perform faithfully my professional duties. To employ only those recognized methods of treatment. Consistent with good judgment. And with my skills and ability. Keeping in mind always nature's laws. And the body's inherent capacity for recovery. I will be ever vigilant in aiding the general welfare of the community, sustaining its laws and institutions, not engaging in those practices which will in any way bring shame or discredit upon myself or my profession. I will give no drugs for deadly purposes to any person. though it be asked of me. I will endeavor to work in accord with my colleagues in a spirit of progressive cooperation, and never by word or by act cast imputations upon them or their rightful practices. I will look with respect and esteem on all those who have taught me my art. To my college I will be loyal. And strive always for its best interests. And for the interests of the students who come after me. I will be ever alert to further the application of the basic biologic truths of the healing arts and to develop the principles of osteopathy which were first enunciated by Andrew Taylor Still. Thank you, fellow physicians. Please be seated. We're fortunate to have Dr. Norman E. Penn, President of the American Osteopathic Association, with us.
Very blessed and privileged to be at your graduation dinner last night. We had, I thought, a great evening together. Once again, I'm starting to be one of the last things between you and lunch or whatever kind of party we're going to go to. And you know, I got some great advice many years ago. The key to good presentation is a good beginning and a good ending, preferably as close together as possible. A few things that we did discuss last night I just want to reiterate because I want to welcome you to our profession. But you know, there were many friends and family members that weren't there last night, and some things that all of you should know. I told our graduates last night that we're a young and rapidly growing profession. Of all the degrees, the DO degrees granted since our founding 140 years ago, which is somewhere between 103 and 105,000, 80% of those degrees have been granted in the last 40 years. That tells you the kind of growth we've experienced. And I told the graduates last night, and this is for family and loved ones, that Clayton Christensen, the coiner of the term disruptive innovation, said we're one of the key disruptive innovations of the next decade, one of the 3 key disruptive innovations. So for those of you who don't know this, and graduates, I want to reinforce, you're part of a young, dynamic, and growing profession. I want to welcome you to it. You've been through a lot. I know that there were times you didn't think you were going to get through. Nelson Mandela has a great quote, it always seems impossible till it's done. And for you, this phase is done. You are a shining example already, I think, of what an osteopathic physician should be. I was just amazed at the group last night and hearing the awards and the achievements of many of you. If I was a rush chairman for a fraternity, I'd want to pledge all of you. Okay? Because and this happens over and over again on a national perspective. I've gone to many graduations, and the stars that are coming out of our profession, and the way you're so competitive in the House of Medicine, the way, as Dr. Told mentioned, I think you're going to be even more competitive with the changes that are occurring, and the alliances, I think, as Governor Levinas said, we are working to be conveners. We anticipate being collaborative and inclusive. And we want you engaged. You know, that's a two-way street. We want to be friends to you. We want to be relevant to you. But we're going to ask you to work a little bit to be engaged and help us be more relevant. This is, and we have a lot of fun as a profession, and we don't want you to forget that. I think your valedictorian said be something more than just being a doctor. And in our profession, we have that advantage. We're really collegial. We have a special culture. We have a special sense of family. And we are highlighting some of that this year, not only with our designation of heroes, guardians, and champions, but with our osteopathic media moments, with trying to reach out to you on Twitter, with developing an ambassadors program so that we can have more engagement and relevance with you while you're residents and young physicians. But we ask you to participate, for you to be engaged. Tell us how to do that better. But we have a lot of fun together. I mentioned the term fraternity, and I guess to be politically correct, I have to say fraternity and sorority. But one of the things that we noticed this year and wanted to sort of memorialize is because we're a humanistic, compassionate, touching profession. You ever notice when we all get together how we're all hugging each other? You go to one of our meetings, our conferences, you're going to see everybody hugging each other. I have, in the spirit of collegiality, I have officially designated the DO hug as the secret handshake of the profession. And at this point, I would like every graduate to stand up. Please stand up. Come on, let's stand up. Okay, I want you to turn to the people next to you and give them the DO hug, and you welcome each other to the profession.
You don't have to keep up. There's plenty of time for that through your whole career. Don't forget it. But in closing, I just want to use one quote, serious quote. And I hope you've heard this before, because we coin this a lot actually in many areas where we congregate and we talk among ourselves and to students and even to our own members. A quote from Dr. Andrew Taylor Still. Let your light so shine before men and women that the world will know that you are an osteopathic physician, pure and simple, and that no prouder title can follow a human name. Class of 2014, my fellow DOs, welcome to the profession. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Venn. At this point in our celebration, it is befitting for the graduates to pay tribute to those who have contributed greatly to their success. Will the graduates please rise? Through great dedication and commitment, your esteemed faculty has advanced your capacities as caring and compassionate physicians. As you go forward, you too have a responsibility to wisely use what you have learned to preserve a quality of life for those individuals and communities you serve. I ask that you demonstrate your appreciation by applauding the faculty. Graduates, to your parents, partners, loved ones, friends, and mentors, people who have cheered you every step of this journey, I ask that you turn and face the audience. This is your opportunity to say thanks. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, administration, faculty, and staff of Rocky Vista University, we commend each of you on achieving this great, significant milestone. Please be seated.
In our brief history, we've already achieved acclaim from for our commitment to military medicine. With over 100 students and military scholarships, we have earned the distinction of having among the largest percentage of students on military scholarships of any civilian medical school. We're proud of our schools, our student service to our country to preserve freedom, and are honored to witness their commissioning as part of our commencement ceremony. We are honored to have Lieutenant General Douglas J. Robb with us today to lead our commissioning ceremony. Lieutenant General Douglas J. Robb is Director of Defense Health Agency, Defense Health Headquarters, Falls Church, Virginia. He leads a joint integrated combat agency enabling the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps medical services to provide a medically ready force and ready medical forces to combatant commands in both peacetime and war. Lieutenant General Robb entered the Air Force in June 1979 as a graduate of the Air Force Academy just south of here. He is board certified in aerospace medicine and has spent 20 years in the practice of aerospace medicine in support of the Air Force Joint and Coalition Aviation Forces. Clinically, he has held the positions of Chief Flight Surgeon, Medicine, Aerospace Medicine Squadron Commander, Hospital and Medical Center Commander. Additionally, he has held staff positions as the Chief Flight Surgeon for the U.S. Air Force in Europe, Command Surgeon, U.S. Central Command, Command Surgeon, Air Mobility Command, and Joint Staff Surgeon, Office of the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Prior to his current position, Dr. Robb served as Deputy Director of TRICARE Management Activity. At this time, I'd like to ask Lieutenant General Douglas J. Robb to come forward.
First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. And as high aim, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong, for where'er we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Our last night on shore, hail to the foe. Until we meet once more, here's wishing you a happy voyage home. Off we go into the wild blue sky. Starting our flame from under, often on terrible roar. We live and think, or go down in flame, for nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. America.
They're looking pretty sharp, aren't they? President Lovell told our founder, Ife Tien, Secretary Levitt, AO President Dr. Vin, other distinguished guests and faculty, but most importantly, the family and friends of our soon-to-be captains and lieutenants. I am honored to have been asked to share my thoughts on the journey our newly commissioned officers are about to embark upon. Fellow medics and military officers, you have chosen to participate in two of our nation's greatest professions, the profession of arms and the profession of medicine. Both serve our communities and our great nation. But more importantly, you will serve and support our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, our Marine, our Coast Guardsmen, our coalition forces. And probably more importantly, you will serve and care for their husbands, their wives, their sons, their daughters, their mothers, and their fathers. So both the profession of arms and the profession of medicine have thousands of years of tradition. The military has a calling to protect the security and the safety of our nation, and the physician the calling to heal those in need. Never, ever forget your foundation as an osteopathic physician. And you know that is to treat the whole person, the body, the mind, and the spirit. Or as I call it, the heart, the soul, and the guts. You should aspire to be both leaders in the military and in healthcare. That is key. You are military officers first and a physician second. Let me say that again. You are a military officer first and a physician second. 24/7, 365. And there will be times in your careers when both the military and medicine will seemingly place on you more demands than you will ever think you have the capacity to handle. But I have a few words of advice. Just remember, when all else fails, focus on the patient. Always focus on the patient. Your patients care most if you care. And always care for your patients as if they were your own family. That litmus test should always be: treat your patients exactly how you would want your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, or your mom and dad treated. And yes, see that young mom whose small child was late for her appointment. And yes, squeeze in that soldier, that sailor, that airman, that Marine that is sick when there is no appointment available. Always listen to your patient and be empathetic. And sometimes that may be all that you can do. And every once in a while, you might just ask the patient, what's wrong with him? And you'll be surprised what they tell you. No doubt your academic and clinical background here at Rocky Vista has set the foundation to not only be part of our incredible team of military medical professionals, but what I think President Lovell and Dean Todd are hoping for is that you will continue to advance our military health care in directions that none of us have ever dreamed of. And yes, I believe that potential exists right here on this front stage. Would you agree, President Lovell and Dean Todd? Thumbs up? Thumbs up. All right. By the way, I hope your students paid attention. And soon they will be my docs. And while they were on their clinical rotations and in class, you learned a lot. And again, I'm going to ask, I hope you paid attention. Because each and every day while you are serving in our United States military, you will be tested. You will be tested. But this time with real life experiences, such as care under fire on the battlefield, or performing an emergency appendectomy on board a submarine at 400 feet below the surface of the ocean, or as a doc on a flying ICU on board a C-17 at 35,000 feet altitude. And this time, it won't be a true or false or a multiple choice question. You guys ready? All right. And remember, A.T. Steele was a military physician. So will you make that same impact on our nation as he did? It's going to be up to you. So I am fortunate and I have found a vocation where I'm passionate as an officer and a physician. And I pray that you too will come to know that same passion for both of our professions. Our patients are special, something that you will come to realize as you treat these warriors and their families. Our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, Coast Guardsmen, and coalition forces, and their families have served our country with distinction and with pride. Many have given more than you will ever know, bearing both the burden of visible and invisible wounds. Never ever forget that retiree or that veteran who has served with honor. Take time to ask them what they did in our service, what they did for our great nation. And again, you may be surprised what they tell you. Now we're about to celebrate Memorial Day. I hope each of you remember that the true meaning of that day of remembrance. Your goal is to make sure that more of our service members, our warriors, your fellow brothers in arms, have the opportunity to take part in Labor Day festivities rather than be listed at a roll call on Memorial Day remembrances. And if not, then make darn sure you've done everything in your power to ensure our warriors had a fighting chance. Y'all up for it? What? And now a few words of advice from the seasoned military healthcare professional. I only have 2 or 3 things that I live by. Number 1, either you're ready or you're not. There's no almost ready in either of our chosen professions. Number 2, as I said before, treat every patient and your colleagues exactly as you would want your husband or wife, son or daughter, brother or sister, mom or dad treated. And number 3, if you ain't having fun, then find something else to do. All right? I'm not saying there won't be bad days, but for sure the good days should outnumber the not so good days. So I'm both jealous and envious of you. You have a whole career ahead of you. Some of you will serve out your minimum military commitment, and that's okay. You're going to be good citizens in your communities. Some will serve the commitment and join our reserve forces. That's even more okay. And some of you will continue this profession of arms, calling and serve a career in our military. And then maybe someday, one of you will be standing here in my shoes. I'm counting on it. So President Lovell and Dean Todd, I believe it's now time to commission these young Army and Air Force captains and Navy lieutenants so they can get on their way to serving this great nation of ours. But more importantly, so they can get on to the business of taking care of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and our coalition forces, and their families, wherever and whenever our nation asks them to serve. So Godspeed in your military careers. May God protect and bless our profession of medicine and our profession of arms. And may God bless America. So now it's time to commission these young officers. All right, formation. Tucked in. Up. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Having been appointed an officer in the United States military, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. Before you render your first salute as a newly commissioned officer, and while you're facing the men and women out there who you have sworn to protect, and those who have again supported you throughout school, we're going to do what is traditional military protocol. Now let me hear hoorah from the Army. Hoorah. Let me hear hoorah from the Navy. Hoorah. And let me hear air power from the Air Force. Air power. All right, carry on.
Closing remarks. It's hard to think about closing remarks without just taking a moment to look at this beautiful opera house we're in. This is just a lovely facility. We thank all of you for being here, and we again congratulate our graduates. These proceedings are now officially concluded. Families and friends are invited to greet the graduates in the lobby at the conclusion of the recessional. Will the audience please stand for the retirement of the colors and remain standing until the end of the recessional?